What is the role of listening within the broader context of social justice? When we think about listening, especially as it relates to communities that are disenfranchised, communication emerges as a resource that offers opportunities for disrupting structural, material forms of marginalization. Listening, therefore, makes impure existing theories and conceptual frameworks that are circulated, produced, reproduced within academia. The culture-centered approach takes a critical stance toward the role of academia as a site of knowledge production. First of all, it acknowledges that academic theories play a vital role in shaping policies, programs, and in constituting the current organizing of the world. In many ways, academic theories have been at the center for reorganizing the world, for instance, in most recent times around the logic of the free market. Mainstream economists played a vital role in shaping global economic policies which underlie subsequent globalization processes. Within these academic structures, simultaneously, opportunities have increasingly been foreclosed for subaltern and marginalized groups to participate in. Even as academics talk about marginalization, you see people like me who occupy the spaces representing marginalized ideas, marginalized agendas, marginalized issues. So what then are the opportunities for transformation when this space is opened up, particularly as it pertains to creating spaces for the margins, so that the margins can be recognized, the margins can be represented, and the marginalized voices can be the co-constructive participants in the processes of theory production. When we do indeed listen in that sense, not only do we come up with empirical data or evidence for the theories we propose, but rather we also find opportunities for coming up with theories and theoretical frameworks in collaboration with, in solidarity with the margins, with an emphasis on theories that emerge from the margins. In that sense, then, the margins are not just a source of data for academics so that they can validate and recycle their theories, but the margins become participants, co-participants, albeit aware of the relationships of power that constitute these participatory processes. But nevertheless, they become co-participants in creating knowledge claims and in putting forward policy frames and programs that are guided by the lived experiences of the margins. So the commitment to listening essentially then calls upon us to continually think about the kinds of theoretical spaces we inhabit as academics, and then turning these spaces upside down through our conversations in the field. Being in the field in that sense is also being in the community. The field is no longer a data source or a data repository where you just go out, gather some data, come back and write up your paper and publish it in the journal. But the field is an active site of pronouncements, the field is an active site of social change, and the field is an active site of academic disruption. It is through these continual journeys in conversation with the field that we can create opportunities for disrupting the inequities that have been perpetuated by academia and by academics over the last few decades particularly. One of the things that you notice within the globalization processes today is the rise of the expert class, where sort of you have experts for every problem. So even for participatory processes that are set in motion by neoliberal structures like the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, you have experts that carry out these participatory processes. So the goal of the culture-centered approach, as it talks about listening, is in disrupting this idea of expertise, is disrupting this idea that you actually need experts to carry out these kinds of theorizing. It is also fundamentally rooted in appreciation of this very idea that communities, those at the margins, those that have historically been disenfranchised, theorize every day. So theorizing is a part of everyday living. Theorizing is an everyday human form, an everyday human activity that every human being participates in. And sort of opening up that space of theorizing also then means that we fundamentally come to recognize this capacity to participate in making sense among human beings, but more specifically among human beings that have been at the margins. In a nutshell, then, when we think about the idea of listening, I want to summarize with this notion that listening has to be tied to transformation, but that transformation is fundamentally in thinking through, inverting, challenging the kinds of knowledge spaces we inhabit and the knowledge claims we make.